Disclaimer number 1. This video is my opinion. Feel free to disagree, but don't be an idiot about it. Disclaimer number 2. I began writing this video on March 19th, so there might be some overlap, depending on whether or not I finish this video before or after Wave 4. I don't know if you'll believe me if I say this, but there is not a single monster in my Singing Monsters that I dislike. Every single monster has something to offer. Boscus, Gobbledygourd, Wink, all of them are good in some way. This even applies to variants like Rare Stog, Epic Tweedle, and, dare I say, Prismatic Scups. Now, this doesn't apply to individual tracks. For example, Gold Island Drumpler is hard to listen to on its own, but that doesn't make me hate Drumpler. What I'm getting at is, I like these monsters, but I can see why someone would hate them. And then there's Pip Lash. I love Pip Lash so much. It gets an easy bronze medal. Hell, even autocomplete knows I love Pip Lash. But holy hornicle, Pip Lash gets so much heat. For the longest time, I never understood why. But in this video, I'm going to be discussing the 3 big reasons why I think Pip Lash is the most hated workshop monster, and how I feel about these complaints. Reason number 1, it doesn't fit. People say this a lot, but I don't know what they exactly mean, so this reason will be split into sections. A, its sound doesn't fit. B, its sound is offbeat. C, its sound doesn't fit in Ogler's verse. And D, its design doesn't fit. Starting with its sound doesn't fit, we have to answer the question, is Pip Lash an electric guitar or an electric violin? Let's compare. Regardless of what the answer is, I'm 100% sure Pip Lash was intended to be a rock and roll guitar monster. And I know what you're thinking. It doesn't sound like a guitar. Well, I think it does. Especially at the end of the track when you can hear the very distinct guitar. So now we have the question, is an electric guitar fitting on Workshop? The obvious answer is yes, for reasons I'll talk about later. Next, its sound is offbeat. I'm sorry, this one actually kind of annoys me. Look, you are completely allowed to not be a fan of syncopation. I understand why Firehaven Bazinga may feel offbeat, and Bone Island Yarns is a little bit funky. Pip Lash? I don't get it. Okay, here's a big one. Its sound doesn't fit in Ogler's verse. Firstly, Ogler's first verse was the only verse that did not get an update in Wave 2. It was about time we got something. And secondly, does Ogler's first verse need to be chill? To that I say, pshaw. I don't personally think so. I understand if that was the only time Ogler played, but the ending verse is also an Ogler bit. Okay, I know how copium this is gonna sound, but on the MPG short showcasing that verse after Wave 3, it is now referred to as Pip Lash verse instead of Ogler verse. I've heard people say that Pip Lash should also, or only play in that ending verse, but I'll let this clip speak for itself. Boot up Dimbo. I know. It could have a second track, but it's honestly not the same vibe. It just feels wrong. For the sake of your sanity and mine, I'm not going to go into detail about my hatred for the plays too little argument in general, not just for Pip Lash. Side note, people say Nightmare, as its bio suggests, is too sad and kills the vibe. But I keep re-listening to Wave 1, and there's something about the final verse that feels sadder without Nightmare. That's why I think Nightmare and Pip Lash are in the perfect place in the song. Lastly, its design doesn't fit. I believe this is referring to the fact that it's too normal looking. Given the bio, I think this was a creative decision, and I think it makes sense. One of my favorite things about MSM is how authentic the world feels. Every now and then they do get technical, but most of the time they do an amazing job at staying in character and making it feel like the monster world is a real place, and they're still learning about it. The "this is driving us crazy" in the bio really sells it. Also, I think it was intentionally designed to look like a children's character. I feel like some of the workshoppers have this familiar vibe to them. This comment describes my thoughts when I first heard Whale. Also, hot take, Pip Lash looks more unstable and experimental than Blairit. I mean, tell me right now that not in 100 years would you have thought of a monster that makes guitar sounds by shaking door stoppers on its head. Wow, that went on way longer than I expected. Now, we're on to reason number 2. This is the reason that drove me to make this video. Reason number 2, Slug to Rock. For those unaware, Slug to Rock is an Ethereal Workshop prediction by the YouTuber Mighty Walrus. I think it's pretty obvious that this monster plays the electric guitar. What I'm getting at is, I think the community was spoiled with Slug to Rock. Therefore, when the real electric guitar monster came, people were disappointed. Here's the thing. I feel like a lot of My Singing Monsters fan projects are a bit more extravagant, where in the actual game, things are a bit more grounded. That's why I try to limit myself on fan predictions, because the monster elements they're putting on these islands are guaranteed to actually come. If I get attached to a fan monster prediction, then I'll be sad to realize it's not real. And this is especially apparent for Workshop. I love Workshop, like, a lot. A non-example of this is my favorite fan monster, Raw Zebra's Figaro. It has a magnificent design, sound, voice actor, and most of all, its elements are wacky as hell. In what world will there ever be an island where you can breed Ostax and Araculele? Then, there are monsters like Ghost Timpa's Perplex Ray and Grim 80's Sporadic. These are awesome, but I can only listen to them a couple times, or else it'll be tattooed to my brain. Putting all this aside, I don't find Slug to Rock special from a design standpoint. A comment once pointed out that, as of Wave 3, there are no monsters that have instruments kin to their real-life instruments, much like Bogart and such. Slug to Rock looks like it would have been the Plasma Quad if the ethereal elements were more stable. Now, of course, I have no malice towards any of these creators. They are all very talented people that I'll link into the description of this video. This is just a silly result of my silly brain. Finally, reason number 3. It's an acquired taste. Before I began writing this video, I was very against the Pip Lash hate. Now that I've put all my thoughts on display, I feel significantly better. I still think that Pip Lash is overhated, but I understand the merit a bit more. I'm sure Pip Lash will grow on some people eventually. Take me, for example. I used to hate Pummel. Now, I think it's still quiet, but it sounds good on its own. It's just the silliest looking goober ever. God, I love silly monsters. Someone needs to make a silly island. I'm not talented enough to do it. Sorry, I got a bit carried away. I'm just saying, if Nightmare can grow on Future Pro Gamer 90, anything is possible. If Pip Lash doesn't grow on you, then that's okay. Hate Pip Lash all you want. Prefer Slug Turok all you want. Be my guest. I just happen to be one of the few people who loved Pip Lash from the moment that adorable smile caught on. Let's end this video with some Sorry, I'm not re-recording this. Let's end this video with some positivity. So here's a rare Ogler concept I made. Thanks for watching.